Hi, this is Kamera again. We're on day number 290, Mark chapter 6 through 7. Jesus, he returns to his hometown, Nazareth, and he begins to preach in the synagogue. And people were amazed. They were amazed at his teachings. They were amazed by the miracles he was performing. But get this, the locals, his own people, they started pointing out that he was from that hometown, that they knew his family. They called out his brothers, his mother, his occupation. They called out his sisters. We even know where his sisters live. And so they started to be offended. Isn't that something? Be offended, and they refused to believe him just because they knew his background and who he was connected to. And so Jesus simply says a prophet is honored everywhere except for his own home, except for his own hometown. And so it says here that Jesus couldn't even perform any more miracles other than, healing the sick. He couldn't perform any more miracles because of their unbelief. But what gets me is the Bible says that Jesus was amazed by those people. He said Jesus was amazed by their unbelief. Doesn't say too many times when Jesus is amazed. I'm just saying that I thought that tickled me. But get this. Fast forward, Jesus sends his 12 out, and he sends them out in pairs, and he gave them instructions to heal, to preach. And he also told them, don't take anything extra. Don't take anything extra. But to those homes where you are allowed to stay in that home until you leave that town. And he also says if you're not accepted, you're rejected, you shake the dust off your feet and keep it going. Keep it moving. And so fast forward, John the Baptist. First of all, before John the Baptist actually was in prison. But get this, the king there, King Antipas, he liked John the Baptist. But get this, before we get to John the Baptist, he thought that Jesus was John the Baptist resurrected. He thought that Jesus was a resurrected John the Baptist. Because what had happened was, he liked John the Baptist. He respected him. He knew him to be a godly man. He used to sit and listen to John the Baptist. He really liked and respected John the Baptist. His wife did not, Herodias. Herodias didn't like John the Baptist because John the Baptist would tell them, you guys should not be married. That's your brother's wife. You should not be married. And she did not like that. And she would have loved to have killed John the Baptist, but her husband loved him, respected him, and she couldn't get that approval from him. And so the opportunity came where their daughter danced for him. He had some guests over his birthday, and he had his daughter to dance, and he told her to ask anything, he'll give it to her. And so she went back to her mother and asked, what should I ask? And she said, ask for John the Baptist's head. And he had to honor that because he said that she could ask anything. And he told her that in front of his guests, so he had to honor that. But it really grieved him to have done that. But he thought Jesus was John the Baptist risen, right? And so, yeah, that's a sad story. So when Jesus found out that John the Baptist, what happened to John the Baptist, he decided to go away. Him and his disciples, they went away to a quiet place to get some rest. Crowd heard about that. Once the crowd heard about it, they started to gather again where Jesus was. And so Jesus, he had compassion on them, and he started teaching them and healing them. And yeah, he was so compassionate, right? He knew why the people was following him. They wanted something of him. They wanted the message. They needed healing. And he had compassion. I love that part. But anyway, there came a time where they were hungry. Well, it was getting late. And the disciples was like, we need to send them back. It's getting late or what have you. Jesus was like, let's feed them. And they're like, wait, we have to work. We have to work forever to feed them. We only got like these few loaves of bread, couple fish. And so Jesus had them to bring what they had. And they had the people to sit in groups of 50, groups of 100. And Jesus would break off that bread, that fish, and he would hand it to the disciples, and the disciples would give it out. And that, them 5 loaves of bread and those 2 fish were extended enough to feed over 5,000 men, plus the women and the children. Isn't that something? And they had leftovers. There were leftovers, but get this, they ate what they wanted. So they had more than enough to eat, and then there were leftovers. So that was one of the miracles that was awesome. So get this, right after that, Jesus sent his disciples off in a boat. He's going to meet with them later. And while they were gone, he was just, I guess saying his goodbyes to the people. I love the fact he cared about the people. Show them love, right? Send off the disciples, and he'll send off the people. Isn't that something? And so when he went to meet his disciples, once that was done, he went to meet the disciples. And there was a storm on the water. But get this, Jesus walked on the water the Bible actually says in Mark that he was going to bypass them, but his boys were so scared on that water. When they saw Jesus, they were terrified. Yeah, so he went and climbed in the boat, and of course he told the waters to be still, and it was still. They were amazed by that. What get me about his disciples, first of all, they thought Jesus was a ghost when he was out there, but yeah. What get me about the disciples is that they walked with Jesus. They saw more miracles than anyone else. And you had people that come out of nowhere who had more faith than they did. Isn't that something? Were they just following? Did they actually listen? Did they listen to what he was telling them? Did they observe what he was doing? Did they feel what he was doing? Something to think about in our walk, guys, with the Lord and with the Word as we read it. Do we actually see the Lord, how he deals with stuff? And it's just, we really need to take a look at that situation with those disciples and how we see God, how we see what he does. Do we really believe, or are we just going with, just going with it? I don't know. And so fast forward, these Pharisees and the teachers of the law criticized the disciples for not washing their hands before they ate, because there was this thing where you wash your hands before you ate, or you were unclean. And so Jesus was like, you hypocrites, criticizing his boys, right? You hypocrites, you skillfully sidestep the law to honor your traditions. Isn't that something? And he says it's not what goes in your mouth that defiles you, it's what comes out of your mouth, because what comes out of your mouth comes from your heart. Isn't that something? The lies, the deceit, the adultery, the gossip, the slander, that is what defiles your body. It's not what goes in your body. And I thought about that when he says how people sidestep the law or the love for traditions. And so I'm thinking about, like, for instance, if someone had to do something, like they had to go to church, but someone asked them, can you help me out? Well, I have to go to church on Sunday, so I can't help you. Out of tradition, they go to church on Sunday, but then, or, I can't help you because I got to go to church in the morning. I'm be too tired. I have to go to church. For tradition, where's the love, right? You sidestep the love, but there's a way to do things. If you really want to show that love, but you still have something to do, can't you just tell the person, I'll be happy to help you. Let me go to church first, and I'll help you afterwards. Or I'll help you before I go to church. There's a way to do that. So everyone be, examine your own heart, why you do stuff and why you reject stuff. And it should always, God wants us to show love above the traditions. People go to church, back in the day, they go to church with pants on. Your tradition says don't wear pants. What about the love that the person even came to church in the first place? Or tradition, we can't wear makeup. What about the fact the person came to church to hear the word of God? So we got to be careful about this tradition thing. Oh, you have tattoos. Oh my gosh, you have tattoos, you have piercings. What about the love? What about the love of Christ over tradition? And so, so he pointed that out. He called them hypocrites. So we have to be careful, guys. It's got to be careful. And so get this. This Gentile woman, she goes to Jesus and she says, she needed him. She worshiped him. She's happy to see him. So then she asks Jesus, she says, heal my daughter of this spirit, right? And so Jesus said, well, I came from the Jewish, my own people, and it's not right for me to give the food that is meant for the children to cast those to the dogs. I know I said it backwards, right? Is it wise for me to cast food for the dogs that was meant for the children? And so that girl came back with Jesus. That girl said, well, even the dogs under the table eat from the crumbs of the children. That was hilarious. She got back with Jesus. But Jesus, I love that because it shows his humor. It shows his personality. I'm sure he wasn't denying her as in denying her, but he showed that faith. How bad do you want it, right? So she came back with it. And she's like, it's true. But even, so he says, yeah, going on back. Your daughter is healed because of her faith. Isn't that something? And then you had these deaf people. The guy couldn't hear. And the way Jesus healed him, I'm like, ew, that's disgusting, right? But he got his healing. The guy could hear, he could speak now with the way Jesus healed him. So we got to be careful too, right? I'm thinking about how the guy was healed. So, come on, that's not even important. The point is, he was healed. But anyway, guys, I enjoyed the word again, like I always do. But we have to ask God for understanding. What do you want to teach me in your word, Lord? It's not just a read. There's life in the word. So there you go, guys. Day number 290, Mark chapter 6 through 7. You have a God-filled, blessed day.